All right, hello. Welcome to the Local Chingu Podcast. My name is Evan, and
My name is Yeji.
okay,
Yay.
and we are here to talk about our podcast, right?
Yes.
This is the Local Chingu Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yeji, who are you?
Okay, so I'm a founder of Local Chingu,
Mm-hmm.
and Local Chingu is a community for Korean and non-Korean. So before I start Local Chingu, I was Korean language teacher. I used to teach Korean only, and then I thought like, oh, maybe I can do something to connect people. Like I've seen many people struggling with meeting locals while they're staying here in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've met so many Korean people who want to meet people from different country
Mm-hmm.
while in Seoul. So I started this community like 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I'm talking too much. Right? No?
You started it 1 year ago, right? Because, like, well, this is who we are, why we started the podcast. It's all
Okay.
connected, so it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is who I am.
Yeah,
I talk a lot, so
that's okay.
yeah. So in the community called the Local Chingu, I host events, or sometimes I host party, or sometimes I do everything that I feel like I can connect people in a safe environment
Mm-hmm.
and also in a fun way. So I also do like Korean drinking culture session, like you see, like this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am a founder of Local Chingu, and also I am a Korean language teacher, and I was born and raised here in Seoul. And yeah, that's me.
Okay.
And who are you?
Me. I'm Evan, right? I'm Evan. I am a teacher right now. I teach English at an academy here in Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Seoul since last year in October, so like maybe 9 months or so. And I've only been here 9 months, but my background is in a million things. I've worked in IT. I've done security alarm installation. Like I've done like I've worked for like alarm companies, security companies back in the U.S.
Yeah.
I've worked at like coffee shops.
Oh.
I've had several jobs, but my being in school, I went to school for foreign language. I studied Chinese specifically, but I did start learning Korean on my own back in 2013 as a hobby because I've always liked languages. So I've been studying Korean for about 10 years on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, and I knew I always wanted to do like translation or something with languages. And when you teach a language, you work with both languages. So that's me.
That's why you come to Korea.
That's why I came to Korea. So I'm teaching right now, maybe not forever, but that's what I'm doing right now. And I do plan on being here for the time being.
Okay, great. So why did we start this podcast? Let's talk about it.
Okay, so the reason we started this podcast is because one day me and you, we were working on the soju book.
Yes.
Once again, more soju. Yes. So this is actually the soju book. The Korean title is Alangmalang Soju Tamgu Sengwar. And it's basically it's essentially like a Bible for soju, right?
Yeah, for about drinking soju.
It's a Bible about drinking soju from like A to Z and everything you'll ever need to know about drinking soju. So the book is published in Korean, naturally. But me and you, for over the last 2 months or so, maybe, we've been working on helping the author Funny June create an English version of the book because he wants to publish it and spread Korean culture and knowledge about the way that drinking soju kind of represents Korean culture and community building and spread that knowledge to the world, right? So we've been working on that as a project for the last couple of months. And while we were working on that, we ended up talking about we were taking a break. We were just eating some pizza.
Yeah, and then I was complaining about how hard to reach to new audience, to promote like all the events that I'm hosting in Local Chingu.
Mm-hmm.
So, every time I make content on Instagram, but it has been like 1 year since I'm doing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thinking like I should do something more interesting, more interesting to me, so I don't feel like it's working. And then like you were talking about like, you should make TikTok video. And I'm like, no, I don't want to make random TikTok video. And then like we were talking about like, then what about those podcasts video?
Right.
So I always wanted to do podcasts because,
Mm-hmm.
it looks cool. Like I feel like I am something.
You feel like you're somebody. Right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm somebody. So yeah, that's where all the idea came from. Yeah, and then the next day, no, it was like next week or something, you said like, Yeji, I know what to do. And then like you bought all this, how do you say, like equipment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we're doing it.
Because I dug my hands in and I just started researching. I was like, what do you need to build? What do you need to create a podcast? I'm researching. I made a list and like I was going through like checking everything off to see what all we need. And once I found out everything I needed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this, see if it works, and then I'll tell Yeji this is what you got to do, and we can get it started.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's why we started this podcast.
Yes.
So what is the first episode topic?
So it's our first episode, the topic for today is about expat life, which is, anyone who goes to another country that is not their home country and, just like lives there, whether they just have to live there for a year or, 10 years, they're an expat because they've left their home country, right? And specifically, as an expat, is it hard to make friends in Korea?
Yeah, I think it's the perfect topic for Local Chingu Podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like Local Chingu is all about connecting people.
Right.
So definitely I see that there's a like it's a kind of problem for expats in Korea. So like I think I can make the solution, which is like Local Chingu stuff. So I believe that it's not easy to make friends here in Korea, so that's why I'm doing it. But like, you are the person who are going through everything. So, do you think, is it true? Like, is it hard to make friends here in Korea?
I think so. There's several reasons that like I think it can be hard to make friends here, especially as like an expat. Like, because like one, you're not from here, so like. And the thing is like, so like, if you come here, if you're not like Korean American, most of the time you don't speak Korean.
Yeah.
So like there's a language barrier. And one thing that I've noticed, because like I'm fluent, right? Like I'm fluent in Korean. So like the language barrier is like not an issue for me, which I'm very I feel very fortunate that that there's no language barrier, because when like, because the thing is like if you come like, yes, Korea like is like has become a global country over the last like 5-10 years, but even so like, and like people are always like, yeah, you go to Korea, most people speak English, even if they're a little nervous, they usually understand it, right? Like,
yeah, is that true?
Like usually like, especially like if you are in like the busier areas like Seoul, like Gangnam or Seoul, most Koreans will speak like some level of like basic English, but like sometimes, or like if I go to like the grocery store, right, like they'll just look at me and they'll be like, do you need a plastic bag, in English?
Yeah,
because they're used to most foreigners not speaking Korean.
You don't look like a person who can speak Korean fluently, so
like it makes sense. And I'm just like like they don't even try the 봉투 필요하세요? They'll either be like I've seen sometimes they'll be like, do you need a plastic bag? Or sometimes they'll be like, plastic bag, and they just do they just use like the international do you need a bag like sign, because they're just like, they just assume that I don't speak Korean.
Do you answer back in English?
I always answer back in Korean.
Oh.
Because I'm just like, I understand. I'm like, thank you. Or I'll just be like, 괜찮아요, or 필요 없어요, 괜찮아요, and they'll be like, oh, okay, and then we keep going. Or if I do need a bag, I'll be like, 예, 봉투 주세요. And they're like, oh, okay. And sometimes, 한국말 잘하시나요? They're usually really surprised. It's pretty funny. But I've noticed that, like, even outside of like those small interactions, right? Like, when you walk up to a Korean person, especially if they're a stranger, like, if you're going to be talking to them in English, right? For the Korean person, if they know they're going to speak, they have to use their second language or maybe even their third language, right? Like, they already have a level of like nervousness because a lot of Koreans, even the ones who have a really, really good English, they could sometimes they're like really like self-conscious about like their English level. They're like, oh, my English is not that good, or like, even if I can understand everything you say, you're like, oh, my pronunciation is not good, or oh, my grammar is bad, right? Even though I understand everything. Yes. So they already have that level of like nervousness, or like they have to perform almost just to speak with you. But when I come up to them and I start speaking Korean, a lot of times I see their entire like energy just like relax. They're like, oh wow, they're like, oh my god, you speak Korean, wow. And then like it immediately like changes from the Korean person being like, oh, I have to pass this English test to, oh, I can just talk to him, like okay. I can make a real like connection with somebody because I don't have to worry about a language barrier. And I think that has helped me make a lot more friends and make more connections. You can
speak Korean
because I can speak it, like because I can speak the language, I'm not limited. Because like if you can't speak the language, or if you can only say like hello, thank you, goodbye, like your age, right? You're the only people you can be friends with are people whose English is better than your Korean. But if you can speak both languages fluently, then you don't have that limit.
Yeah.
So like I think that being able to speak Korean has definitely like made my like friendship like options a lot larger.
But sometimes I see like you don't really speak Korean before you really need to speak in Korean. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I always like tell everybody that like, this guy can speak Korean actually, so just talk to him. And so like I don't know, like I just feel like maybe you feel awkward to speak Korean.
Sometimes it's because it feels awkward. Like at local Chingu events, for example, I think that like a lot of the Koreans, they come to practice their English. Oh. So like I feel like if so like for me, I think that if I only speak in Korean, then like if their reason for coming to local Chingu was to practice English, then they lose that like opportunity. So like I just speak in English until there's a point where I need to use Korean to break the language barrier. Like if I'm saying something and they're like not fully understanding, then I'll be like, oh, and just explain in Korean. Yeah. And then they're like, oh my god, you speak Korean? And I'm like, yes. So like, cause like I could explain what one vocabulary word means for 10 minutes. Or I can just tell you what the Korean word is.
Yeah, and then like
and we continue the conversation. So like, because of that, it's like I usually will if I'm going through like the subway station or anything like that, anywhere that's not like a local Chingu event, then I almost always use Korean first. But like when it's an event where like Koreans want to meet non-Koreans, I usually will stick to English first, and then if they want to switch to Korean, like if we become like friends or we're hanging out outside of like an event, which happens a lot, then that's when I'll choose to just use Korean, like because like, and me, like outside of like the events, 9 times out of 10 I'm speaking Konglish. I'm like half Korean, half English. I mix the words, and I make up like new like compound, like I combine English and Korean and make all of my sentences because it's fun.
It's fun.
And it's also like people get the message easily when you like, because like
I love Konglish.
yeah, Konglish is so fun.
It's so fun.
Yes.
Never get tired of it.
Yes.
Okay, so you think that since you speak Korean fluently, so it makes a lot more easier to make friends here in Korea.
Absolutely.
And I agree with the language part,
Yeah.
because like every time I have session or any events for Local Chingu, like those Korean people, like when I ask for them to introduce themselves, their first sentence is like almost sounds like, "Hi, my English is not good," and like, "Hey, you don't need to say that.
Right.
We will see if your English is good or not. You know,
Right.
You don't need to say it at first." But I understand that they feel nervous every time they have to speak in English, and also for me. If I don't speak any English for like 2 days, then I feel like my language skill get
Worse.
Or at least I need like 5 minutes to bring my
English back.
So like if I haven't met any international friends for about 2 days, and then I was walking around, and then if you call me like, Yeji, where are you going? And then like I will like, I have to think to back my English,
Yeah.
So I think that's why Korean people got so nervous, like when they're not prepared to speak English, then like you feel a lot more nervous.
Oh, because it kind of like sits in the back of their head.
Yeah.
Using it. Yeah.
Because I think Korean English is like
so
far.
Yeah.
There's nothing 공통점,
Yeah, there's nothing like, they're completely like opposite languages.
Yeah. So when I lived in the Netherlands, it was really 신기해. 뭐라고 하지?
Fascinating.
Yeah, it was really fascinating that if I just talk to anybody in the street out of like just suddenly, and they just talk back in English, they don't need that loading time.
Right.
So like everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons, the language barrier. Like Korean English is so different. Then what if you don't speak Korean?
Like if I don't speak Korean?
Yeah, like then is it hard? Is it like impossible to make friends here in Korea?
I think that it's not impossible, but it's like if you don't speak Korean, then like a lot of your friendship options are very limited because you can only make friends with people who speak English.
Yeah.
Because your language is limited. So because of that, like the only people who you can make friends with are people who have either learned English or like want to learn English, whether that's like language exchange or anything like that, or people who want to like meet foreigners. But like that's a very small part of the population in Korea. Like that's not all of Korea.
Yeah.
That's just a small part of Korea of people who like are Korean and they want to make friends with foreigners specifically. And even then you have to weed through the people who are like, you have to kind of weed through and find out like, does this person actually think do they think of me as a friend
or language exchange partner,
or am I just a walking English dictionary? So like you have to even like filter through that as well, because those are your only options. So when you speak Korean, then like you naturally have a higher chance of meeting people who want to be like genuinely, like they want to genuinely be your friend because you guys have like similar interests or whatever, because you don't have to worry about them like only looking for one thing.
Yeah. So then where do you meet people? Where do you meet these people? Local Chingu.
So like when I first got to Korea, I was like trying to find ways to meet people, and like Instagram, your algorithm, it changes based on your location. So like for the first month that I was here, my ads were still for like American companies like back home. But once my algorithm started changing to like Korean ads, I would get ads for like not language exchange, but I think it's because I'm fluent. I would get advertisements for like
like 맛집?
No, not even 맛집. Like sometimes 맛집, like on Explore page, but I would get like 뭐 영어 실력 한번 테스트 시험해 보세요. Like they would send me advertisements saying, "Do you want to learn English? What's your English level?"
So they thought you were Korean already.
Like even now, like I Rachel, I got an advertisement the other day that I sent to her, and it was like, "Would you like to study abroad in Canada for?" Like I get advertisements to study abroad and go study English.
That's interesting.
Because my phone assumes that because I'm in Korea and because I interact with like Korean pages, that I must be a Korean person. So like because of that, I get a lot of those advertisements. And like when I first got here, like I would see like language think kind of like it would be like come to our event or come to our venue and speak English for 2 hours or
the language exchange,
kind of like like language exchange type stuff. And I would go, but it would be like you would sit at a table with like 5 or 6 people, and it would be like, and like one time I went and they had a paper, and it was like, what is your favorite movie? What is your favorite, like it was like the same 15 questions you ask everybody, right? And I was like, so I did it once, and I was like, it wasn't bad, because I thought, and then I went I went the next weekend again because the people seemed nice, but the same paper was on the table.
So what's your favorite movie?
I was like, well, like I said last week, like there were a few different people. Like yes, it was like the same 10 or 15 questions, and it was just like, I was like this is cool, but like it's really like not my vibe. So I just kind of like. So then the next way that I tried meeting people was one of my a guy, he used to work with me, but he doesn't work at the same academy anymore. He's changed jobs, but he invited me to go clubbing out in Hongdae with his friends because he'd been here longer than me. So he had already he was when he first got here last year, everybody said he was going out to Hongdae 3-4 nights a week. Like he was just a party guy. So he had made a lot of friends because he's just social butterfly. So he was like, hey man, come out with me, we'll go out, I'll introduce you to my friends. And that's how I started meeting people, right? Now.
But is that guy Korean?
No, he's American.
And what about his friends?
So the friend group is it's half foreigners, half Korean people. We have a group chat, and it's almost half. So it was a nice mix of foreigners and Koreans. Everybody speaks English, so that's how they kind of bonded. But so I went out. Now the very first, he was like, "Hey man, let's go to Itaewon." Now because I got to Korea October 17th last year. So the first time I went out to go clubbing, instead of going to Hongdae like normal, he was like, "Hey man, it's Halloween night. Let's go to Itaewon." So I was at Itaewon on Halloween.
Oh.
Yes, that's another story for another day.
Thank God. Thank God that you're here yet. So language exchange.
Yes.
So to make Korean friends, you tried
kind of like language exchange, going to meetups.
Language exchange, and then you meet with your friends.
Right.
So yeah, language exchange I tried for several times. But I think one of the reasons why it's hard to make friends here in Korea, when we don't really have good topic to talk about. In my opinion, we Korean people are not good at having small talk.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what to talk about. So at least the language exchange you went, at least you had the list
paper
of questions.
Yeah.
Even though it was what's your favorite, blah blah.
Yeah.
That's better than nothing,
Yeah.
So So why I don't really love to go to language exchange is like I keep having the same conversation over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah, like why did you come to Korea? Like, do you like Korean food?
Do you like kimchi?
Yeah.
Can you eat spicy food?
Yeah. Have you been to Europe? Yes, I did. Like, what was your favorite country? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then like that awkward moment, like,
Now what?
yeah, and then like, do you like K-pop?
And you hope they say no?
No. I mean, I hope they know some K-pop
Yeah.
bands. But like, if they don't, then like, okay, so what can we talk about? I really don't know what to talk about.
Yeah, like I'm not good at small talk myself. So like once I get through like those 5-6 questions, so did you come from, like, have you always lived in Seoul, or do you have a different hometown?
Yeah, how
or,
did you learn Korean? Like,
how did you learn English, right? It's this.
Well, your English is so good. Like, and like, oh, thank you.
Like it's the same thing over here, because like I'm bad at small talk myself, but like, because like for me, I'm bad at small talk, but like if you ask me a question, I'm good at talking and answering.
Yeah.
So like,
if at least one of us is good at small talk,
right,
then it works. But
if both of us are bad, it's like terrible.
Yes. And I didn't really like the language exchange that I went to. I feel like there's a different kinds of people there, like those Korean people who are really, really focusing on practicing English. So like they don't really feel like they're really making friends there. They're just like, okay, so
subject, verb, object.
Like, like.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So like they're so nervous. So that feels like you don't feel like it's 약간 좀 어려워.
Yeah,
right?
it's like you can't make that natural connection.
Yes,
that's very true.
Yeah, and then also like, so we have this kind of people, and then we have another kind of Korean people. They speak Korean, they speak English like me, but like they are not that good at having small talk.
So it's still awkward.
Still awkward. And then expats, like in my experience, there are two different. Maybe three.
Three types.
Three types. One, they are here to make friends, like just for that, Right. So they're like so excited to meet people, and then, like they try to understand each other, like, so like that's what you mean, and then, like they're really nice, like people like you, And then the other kinds of people, like they've been here like for decades, So they were like, there's another Korean person. Okay, so where are you from? Yeah, like, so they don't really try to make connection, and I am nervous. My English is not so good, and then like they're like just speaking in that natural English, which is hard to understand.
Yeah.
So that also, like that attitude also makes me more nervous, and they don't really try to find new topic or interesting topic,
or like common ground. Yeah.
So like, that makes you nervous. And then the last type of people is like they're here to meet girls or
relationships.
Relationships. Also Korean people too.
Yeah, they're like the foreigners the type they're like, I need a visa. I need a visa.
I need a 영주권.
Yes.
결혼 영주권.
And then the Koreans that go out looking for foreigners are like, I need a foreigner.
Yeah. But of course, that's good if you end up meeting the one for you at language exchange. But first, like, you make friends, and then like you see if this person is good or not, and then like you can find a girl, man for you. But if you're there only for that reason, then the vibe is not that I like.
Like it feels very like forced.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
nervous, so awkward.
it's very awkward. Yes.
Yeah.
So language exchange is like, I think language exchange only works if you already have like, not if you already have, but language exchange really only works if you have like, if you can make a connection with that person. Like if you just meet somebody at one of those like one of the 3,000 language meetups in Seoul and they're like, yeah, let's talk about the same 10 questions. I've done that in college in English with strangers when you go like ice-breaking orientation. Like I've had these same conversations in English with people whose names I don't remember. So like to have to do it in Korean, it's like yes, I can do it, but like it's not very like it's not very useful. And also because my Korean is so advanced, like for me, like that's another reason that like I didn't care for language exchange, because I don't need to learn Korean. You need to learn English. So like, and it's like I'm not trying to say that and be like arrogant, but it's just like if we sit here, I can have like everything I can say in English, I can say it in Korean. But the other person is not the same way.
Yeah.
So because of that, it's like it basically just ends up like I would feel like it would just be me feeling like an English teacher.
Oh yeah.
So like, and I'm like, I already teach English 5 days a week at work. So to go on a weekend on my off day and sit and just like help somebody with like basic to intermediate English get through a conversation that's already boring and it's the same 10 questions. Like language exchange just didn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
So like that's why I was happy like when I found Local Chingu, because it's like you, because like you're not it's not the same question. It's like it's their events that like it's like Local Chingu's events are already like if this event was like in America, like in my hometown, and it was all Americans, or if this was like, or if you hosted it like with all Korean people, like people would still go. Because the event itself is interesting. Like it creates an environment where people can like make connections and just like naturally like get close. And then the language exchange just kind of happens like naturally in that setting. But like it's like
you have less 가능성 that you can have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
there's less possibility.
Less possibility. If you go to language exchange, there are less 뭐라고 하지? 더 적은 장치?
Equipment?
No, like
tools?
Tools? Because like, when I do Local Chingu event, I do I set like 3-4 different settings that I make sure people can connect to each other.
Right.
Like, like I make people to have this
name tag,
so you don't feel sorry to ask their name again and again. So
right.
So Evan, like
right.
this, or like just like making that face, like that means like, oh, can I see your name?
Yeah.
But like when you don't have it, it's like, so what's your name again? Yeah. So it feels really sorry.
It makes the connection between them weaker too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's another thing. Like most language exchange like meetups and events that are only language exchange, they're so like disorganized and chaotic, and it's just like, okay, they're like, okay, have people sign up, have them pay the fee, and then they just like, okay, you're gonna sit here for an hour and you'll talk to one person.
Yeah.
So, but there's no like balance or like guidance.
Less organized. So that's why it's cheaper and then it's everywhere. That makes sense, okay? So it's cheap, so you can always go and try to meet people, but like you have less possibility to make friends. But like I do this and then like I make sure people can talk to each other. Okay, okay, stand up, change your seats.
Right.
And yeah, so yeah, language exchange is good. It's everywhere, but you just need to be lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. So yes, it's like that's the thing that like makes language exchange. It's like as like the idea of language exchange is great, but like when you try to like actually have language exchange, like if you don't have a connection with that person, it's not gonna last. Like that's why like when you get on those apps like Hello Talk or those apps that are like built for language exchange, you talk to somebody for 4 or 5 days and then you stop talking to them. Because once you get past the basic stuff, like after that it's over. Especially if it's people like if I'm in America and you're in Korea, like after 5 days, like there's the time zone difference and everything. So like there's only so much you can do.
So
Like
do you believe that language exchange works? Because I don't think that works.
So I think that language exchange works, but you have to have the right conditions. Like it like language exchange works, but it's not easy to make it work, or like you can't like it's not gonna work. So how do you say it?
Cause
It's like effort. It's like
you know it
like,
works because you're good at teaching English. You know what I mean? And it works for me because I know how to teach Korean.
Exactly.
So I know how to explain. When
Right.
my language exchange partner is struggling with understanding something, then I make right example and stuff.
Right.
So that way it works. But I remember when I was not a Korean language teacher, I was trying to explain the difference between 은는 and 이가.
Oh.
And then like I was giving too much information that
Yeah.
they don't need. So like it was very simple question. So what's the difference between like 은는 and 이가? And then I was telling like everything, you know. So like when you get the new information, you put like 는, and then like when you talking about the old information and you say 이가, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know. No, it's different. Okay, so 이가 is like used when you talk about like new information, and the
Right.
은는 is like old information. So 옛날에 한 공주가 있었습니다. 그
Right.
공주는 like that.
Yeah.
But you don't need that information. So like when you are having language exchange with someone who's not experienced in teaching that language, then it just ended up just you talk in one language that you can have better conversation.
Whichever language is the least painful.
Yes, it ends up like that.
And it's usually English.
Yeah, so I think like, okay, like we have conversation in Korean for the first 1 hour and then English the next 1 hour. When both of you are good at English and Korean, maybe that works. But if not, like you're learning language from your exchange language partner, it's not always working. I mean, like I think you want to learn the language, then sign up for the language class.
Definitely. Like I think like language exchange, it'll only work if you already know some of the language.
Yeah.
Because at that point, because one, the second word is exchange, and you can't exchange if only one person can give.
Yeah.
So like I think that makes it so hard to like make language exchange work, because like because like I tried language exchange for like several months, because I was like, more than language exchange, I just want to meet people. Like I was like, I just want to meet Korean people, because like most foreigners that are here, most of them are gone after 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. Like they study in university,
Yes.
or they're working and they finish and then they go. But like Koreans usually live here, and I was like, if I'm going to live here for a long time, then I want to find people who will also be here for a long time.
Yeah.
So like I was like, I want to meet people, but like language exchange was not. I was like I don't need a language exchange. I just want to meet people, and that's why like it doesn't really work.
Yeah. So I think when you have the common thing,
Mm-hmm.
then it's easier to get connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So last time I went to the digital nomad meetup,
Right.
and I can definitely say that it's easy to find a topic to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, language exchange.
Yes.
It's like something that you try twice, 3 times, and then like
Not for me.
not for me.
No.
I want to know like if there's anyone who like language exchange. I want to know like what's their secrets, you know? how do you have fun there? I don't know, because I don't know.
Do you know who enjoys language exchange?
Who?
The host, because they make money. They have the most fun.
Yes.
Because all they had to do was have the space, and now all these people, 30 people just said, yeah, I'll pay $20 to talk to someone for an hour, and then they get nothing out of it.
Oh, that sounds good. I want to host language exchange.
So you can have fun.
Yeah.
So yes,
Okay.
I think this is a good place to stop,
Yeah.
and we can just wrap up here and call it like, and then we can continue this topic next time and
Yeah.
just move on to like the next kind of talking points we had.
Yes. So wrap up.
Wrap up.
How?
So, wrap up. Let's see. So, I think this is a good point to wrap up and call time, right? To everybody who stuck around and listened, thank you. I appreciate you listening. And this has been episode 1 of our Local Chingu Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
More to come next time. Like we have more. Next time we'll be talking about both culture and also possibly even work. In the next few episodes about like just comparing different points of like making friends in Korea, or just making friends as an expat in general. Because Yeji, you also lived abroad in Europe for a few years, so we want to like talk about that and compare it. And once we get past, and that's going to be kind of what we'll talk about, like that'll be the meat of like the next few episodes that we have. But we are finished today. Thank you for listening. Once again, my name is Evan.
My name is Yeji.
If you want to follow us, you can follow me on Instagram at EAJB98.
98.
EAJB98. And Instagram, my TikTok is KOR.EAJB. So like Korea JB with a dot after the KOR.
Yeah.
And Yeji, do you want to promote yourself?
You can find my account here and there. You're gonna edit.
Yes, I'm gonna edit it. Oh my! Oh wow!
Like
Okay.
There and there.
Okay.
Fighting.
Fighting.
Okay, so thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.